If you remember our last episode, you might be sharing my postulate, an ancient amalgamation of our genomic speciation with other people unworldly, resulting in us having a little bit of Nephilim within due to the worldwide boners of so-called fallen angels. So what did these fallen angels look like? Because perhaps combining the average of all mythic descriptions into one personified figure can give us an archetype to work with. An archetype that might suit up as a clue toward the main quandary facing back at us. Andrew Collins hypothesizes a biological form onto fallen angels, a human form. A clue comes from a little ancient drama that easily puts Noah's parents on an episode of Maury Povich. Turning to his obviously distraught wife, Lamech makes her swear by the Most High that she will tell him the truth and admit if she has lain with anyone else. In reply, she beseeches him to accept her word, saying, I swear to thee, by the King of the heavens, that this seed is yours, and that this conception is from you. This fruit was planted by you, and by no stranger or watcher or son of heaven. I speak to you truthfully. Meanwhile, Lamech is probably thinking, I swear by the great Holy One, that if this bitch done went and... All right. It is clear that Lamech is accusing his wife of sleeping not with angels in general, but with a specific race of divine beings known in Hebrew translated as those who watch, or those who are awake, translated into Greek, egregoris or Gregory. In Genesis, there are 3 angels in the guise of men who approach Abraham. They confirm the imminent birth of a son to his elderly wife Sarah and announce their planned destruction of Sodom. The Bible says that a feast was prepared for them, and they did eat. And they did eat. Angels eating food. Surely incorporeal beings would not need to consume earthly sustenance. Then there are 2 angels who visit Lot and his wife in Sodom immediately prior to the city's destruction. As in the case of the Abraham story, they did eat. Men of Sodom surround Lot's home, calling him out and shouting, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, so that we may know them. In other words, they wanted to, it says the rest of the book. You can use your imagination. It is, of course, from this Bible passage that we gain the term sodomy, or anal penetration. Okay. Yeah. That's what it says. So the fallen were fine as hell, and were even recognized as more awake in psyche. Keep in mind, descriptives like watcher doesn't mean to watch in or at people, but instead to watch out on behalf of people, often described as meek. This guy, look out for the little guys. Well, people always think that watchers means watching people, but it turns out, right, yeah, they were actually, like it's a reality TV show, right? Yeah. But they were meant to watch the cosmos, which is very interesting considering cataclysms and blah, blah.
Right. Zeus throwing lightning bolts.
Right. Fallen angels were said to be white as wool and had eyes that glare like the sun or stars. They had sharp facial features, always compared to serpents, indicating high cheekbones and very large, narrow eyes. They preferred the night, seemingly sensitive to sun hitting their flesh. Ladies, go ahead and tell your boyfriend the joke you just thought of. I'll wait. Most importantly, they were skinny and as tall as a cedar in Lebanon. All of these traits are common sense results of living in an environment with less gravity and weaker sunlight. Seems like that place could be Mars. Seems like. But there is another strange characteristic attributed to the fallen. All of them were male, and all of them desired women of Earth. Sounds pretty damn biological to me. Isn't it strange that the first stoneworks to appear in ancient Egypt was not artsy? The pyramids are plain logical geometry. The schist disk, a no-nonsense piece of machinery, the Osirion, etc. All the initial work is left brain, male. But the works that followed using the same universal geometric code were very artsy. The Temple of Ramses, Luxor, giant statues of pharaohs and therianthropic beings. They were all very curvy, colorful, and creative, female. So what changed? This isn't just a catchy book title. It is a staple in our collective animal mind, a vertebrae in the backbone of worldwide myth. Mars can be seen as our left brain hemisphere. Logical, stark, strategic, domineering, quick-tempered, reluctant to change, male. Venus can be associated with the right, creative, free-spirited, sporadic, emotional, intuitive, and psyche, female. And right between the two brain hemispheres is the pineal gland, uniting them both, leading us headfirst into two options. Either planets really do have a drastic effect on our mind, genome, and resulting biology, or everyone on Earth is an immigrant, escaping citizenship from a world on fire, just like Joe McMonagle saw with his third eye.
Subterranean cavern?
It's a subterranean cavern. You cannot see into it, but it's very deep.
And there's wiring?
That's wiring. Here's the interesting part. When we first caught this on Mars, there was a bright red light right here. That's gone out since we caught it. I actually have a photo of the light.
What? What do you think?
Bright red light.
What do you think the light was? Well, that almost implies that there's something there now.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me show you something else.
So there are people at JPL who definitively think...
There you go.
Is that real?
That's real. That's 3 feet long and that big around.
And
it's got buttons on it and a rotating thing
that
there.
was taken on Mars.
That's laying on Mars, man.
And if you sent that to like a NASA photo instrumentation specialist, they wouldn't be able to debunk it.
What they do is they'd say, bullshit, that's not off of Mars. Well, I have the negative.
You have the negative.
Yeah. So they can say whatever the hell they want.
And you can back it up with these JPL guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Joe, I appreciate it, man. This is amazing.
Not a problem.
So JPL is just sitting on these.
Yeah, but you gotta understand something.
They say truth is always stranger than fiction. But how can that be? Well, if you think about it, fiction is created from what we have, birthed from what we already know. The worlds we make up for entertainment are bound to the limits of our imagination, and our imagination comes strictly from memory. Truth, however, whatever that might be, is not concerned one bit by our reality requirements. Like our cousin Terrence was known to say, it's not just stranger than we think, but stranger than we can think. There are things physical and conceptual that we have no idea about. Things we don't know that we don't know. So no matter the theory, the truth will undoubtedly birth from things completely unfamiliar. The Mars mystery is still well beyond our familiar logic. We have to speculate a story with what we have, knowing that most of the puzzle pieces are not only missing, but we can't even see the gap that it's void from. So the truth is etched in us, gouged into our dormant archetypal memory, like a mercury. Let me tell you something weird. In 1902, Uncle Carl published a doctoral dissertation on the psychology of so-called occult phenomenon. In it, he admitted a 14-year-old girl who would periodically fall into strange mediumistic trances, and sometimes she spoke about ancient life on Mars. Flying machines have long been in existence on Mars. The whole of Mars is covered with canals. The canals are artificial lakes and are used for irrigation. The canals are all flat ditches. The water on them is very shallow. There are no bridges over the canals, but that does not prevent communication because everybody travels by flying machine. So there's no telling how much of that is literal truth or active imagination. I mean, Jung was involved. But what is clear is that we are deeply embedded with this archetypal memory. Just look at Mars in pop culture. In fact, there was a comic book about an archaeological finding of a giant face on Mars years before we even had the technology to see the damn thing. What a mind to think that in our collective hive mind, we are reminded of an ancient philosophical people who just refused to die. So they did the impossible, abandoned ship in a Hail Mary attempt at a last resort, and threaded themselves into our world to live on for another eon. But through us, Brahma was wiping that sleep from his eye, and the Yuga was through with their samsara. The universe wanted them dead. To fertilize the coming births, fractaling into this Ouroboros, kicking and screaming and looking for a Tholis. When their time was out, they knew it, but they held on anyway. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight. Rage against the darkness, as they say. You won't win, but you'll get tougher. You'll get better. And that rise in frequency will be felt, tested, and adapted by the rest of the whole. Your particular condensed pocket of sentient energy goes out of its way to grow the fastest way that evolution allows: self-sacrifice. This is how you die before you die. This is how you transcend selfhood and unite with a monad. This is why warriors go to Valhalla, all that. The sacrifice has to be of the self, the overcoming of the pain body and fear response. This is simply a requirement of the great cosmic wheel, the Yuga cycle. It is how it eats. It eats time. And gradients in the Yuga cycle should remind us of our prior notion that reality was once woven differently, because that ties us full circle to when Joe McMoneagle felt that uneasy static while viewing Cydonia. He said it felt just one step removed from reality, because it was. Reality itself may have been entirely different a fabric back then. Thread count 200 type shit. Things may have been finer, more etheric, closer merged with the subtle and causal. Remember, atoms don't weigh anything because there's no matter in there to weigh. It's a pocket of energy that seems dense when we decide it is unconsciously. Perhaps during the golden ages of the Yuga cycles, when our solar system is centered in its orbital sine wave on the galactic disk and parallel with our celestial center, whatever kind of plasma sorcery that thing is, maybe matter didn't behave the way it does now when we're all the way out here on the ceiling fighting for our damn lives. We have to remember, cosmic radiation doesn't stop at tangible mass like light does. It penetrates through and past the very core of all things. But right about there is kind of where the spectrum